Welcome to BeoTalk number 350.
Yeah, buddy.
I got 350.
350 and change.
Hope everybody's doing well. What are we doing? Oh, here. Go to Greeno for some cool covers or stands or
Grills.
Yeah, all the cool stuff. Use the promo code, works on every item. Get 10% off.
I'm joining the Tigrino Club next week, so.
Sweet.
Yeah. We've been in chat, and I'm joining the club.
I mean, I need to join the club more.
So stay tuned. Yeah, you're already in the club. I'm shoulder checking on what's going to become the part of the club. So.
I've been too busy to fully do even more with it, but in about a week or so, I should have more time.
We'll do some shilling and then we'll come full circle to this, because this is fucking
cool. Skinny Play is still here. Also use a promo code. I'll put that in chat too. What are we doing? I missed the button.
The button.
Come on, copy paste. It's like I've never done this before, but my mouse is being weird. So
it's only our 350th. You know, maybe you need to change your batteries in your mouse after all these podcasts.
Oh, it's wired, but I think the scroll wheel is doing something weird, where like you scroll and it goes, and then all of a sudden it goes an extra one when you haven't touched anything.
I think that the mouse is finite.
And come join our Discord if you haven't yet already, where you can bother Steve about cables, and if you live in Europe, you can just buy them.
If you're living on my side of the world or our side of the world, you can just dream of it.
Yeah.
Well, I guess he can send it to Canada, right? Because we're part of the.
No, it's still personal issues in and around family with shipping stuff internationally. It's so many more forms. That's mostly
it's the paperwork nonsense on the other side. But
yeah.
Would it be that much of it? And for the Canada, like we're basically like on paper owned by UK. Like if I ordered cables, I don't think he would have that much. If
it's that much hardship customer, with it.
I don't need them, bro. I just try to help.
If it's one customer, it's not that bad, right? But if you get 10 customers, that's like 30 forms you have to fill out.
Oh, fuck. No, that's not worth it.
And then, I mean, nowadays, if it's for the US anyway, you have to tell where like the copper is sourced and where the plastic comes from.
Oh, yeah. That's
percentages of what comes from China and God knows where else.
Did you use a Chinese-made solder gun?
Something like that. Yes.
That's another.
The answer is essentially yes to all. Right?
Really, everybody have. Even my Milwaukee one has a made in China sticker on it. Sadly enough.
Yeah, the newer stuff is less from there.
Mm-hmm.
But it is what it is. Anyway, you can still.
I still dream of cables. That's it.
Yeah. Or get a pork pie when you go visit Steve.
I don't know if I would go down with that. British food is a bit different.
Pork pies are lovely, man. Especially if you have the jelly.
Oh, Christ on a cross. No way, bro. Fuck, I don't do none of that jelly nonsense. I'm sorry. Especially when it's like pork flavored. Like, I'm having a hard time eating that when it's like candy flavored. You put fucking meat flavor to it, bro. Seth, come on. Oi.
Happening. Pork pies are the shit.
So, anyways, I'm gonna change the topics. Let's talk about the shape.
Okay.
So yeah, I was talking with Tigrino, right? And obviously, like, they inquired if I have a shape, and I have a shape, but it's in the boxes still, right? But I've been talking about it for a while, but I'm gonna unpack the shape. I think it's gonna be after the October passes by, so then there is no cat anymore. And because
it's gonna be that low to the floor.
Well, what I want to do is I want to actually lay it out and see what shape I'm going to end up with, right? Because I do believe in the nonsense of the, doing it on on the design app, but doing it on a design app and laying it out on the wall direct, right? It's a completely different experience in understanding of what this will look like. And I want to make sure that the shape, because the shape is not, I have a core for it, but I'm not going to put the core in it. I'm going to use it, or maybe I'll put the core in it, fuck it anyways, and put 2 receivers wireless on it. Unless I decide to run the Cat 7 all the way up and then just run that aluminum cable cover from B&O to the bottom of the lowest tile and distribute power from there. But I don't have a need for the core to be there. I just want to have the rear height surrounds, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which, with that comes the question that I haven't asked, but this came up over having a cigar with Nathan over the weekend on Friday, and we were talking. I was so stoked about this Tegrino thing, and I was honestly thinking, like, why not try to machine a tile out of pure aluminium and polish it? Because to me, it would look like a cufflink on a nice shirt, right?
Yes.
And have, like, I would take 2 polished tiles and replace 2 out of my 12. If not, I would just expand more, and I don't think I would put more speakers, but I would just put more shit on the wall, right?
Yes.
So yeah, that's a real question. Like, would they be interested in doing something like that? Because I would buy 2 of those tiles, 100%.
Well, you can then also get the itch again and buy another amp and some more speakers.
Well, I thought about that too, for real, because then I could just have 1 receiver per amp, right?
Yeah.
And then I can juice 4 speakers out of it.
Yeah, and it's an easier cabling job.
Or
See, you buy
I
this
can
for
have,
convenience.
or I can have either 4 receivers or 2 Cat 7 power links coming into it, and then have the rear height surrounds and rear backs on the bottom of the shape.
Sure.
Fuck you, man.
I'm in
God,
agreement with that.
but first I need to lay it up how it is. But yeah, I'm very intrigued and interested in if they would be able and capable. I'm sure they're capable. It's just, how much pain in the ass it is to construct or to actually CNC something out of because, well, aluminum is 100% recyclable, but you're removing a lot by making a tile, right? Especially the depth wise, and if you're going to leave the pegs with it, right, to
Yeah.
machine around, that's a fucking ton of waste that they have to recycle. But I think anything is possible. But I think, like, because I understand they have the covers, and so does the skinny play, right? So that's not really another hole in a donut as far as the inventiveness is concerned, but like, or going forward. Because B&O had like this concept of this, right, on the atelier. Like, you can see some of these nonsense crazy designs, even like Noto design, whatever, 90s, with like these fins in between the sails, and the bass drivers are covered in aluminium. But none of that ever is, it's like watching some of those Audis drive in a Judge Dredd movie that never made it on the road, but they're branded Audi, you know what I'm saying? So
Yeah. I mean, or you can go the full David Lynch route, right? He did a shape.
I couldn't care for that. Like, I would rather have a shape that has either another thing that's not obtainable from B&O is a walnut tile, because I could care less for the smoked oak.
Yes.
You know what I mean? If you have that in portfolio as a wood, I don't know what's holding up the dollar in making the tiles, even in atelier, I guess, in oak, light oak, walnut. You get dark oak, smoked oak, right? Like the standard portfolio colors, more or less. It should match.
I somehow think they don't really care that much about the shape anymore, and I don't know why.
I don't understand. The shape is a very underrated product. Very, very underrated product.
Let's see.
They have a lot to choose from or to offer, but nothing that is I've seen in the wild. Like, Quebecson never really sold that many shapes in 3 years that I've installed. I think we've installed like 4, maybe 5, right?
Yeah.
We
I
sold
don't think
over
anybody
100
sells a lot of
videos.
shapes, quite honestly. But the shape is one of these products that you see it with everybody, right? Anybody that's like sort of dips their toe into the shape waters, like they buy more and more and more.
Well, it's a fucking interior design Lego almost, right?
Yeah.
And a wall Lego, I guess.
I mean, Henrik ended up with like 28 tiles or something like that.
Yeah, Henrik went a little off the kilter.
I mean, he's not the only one.
No. You know what? Like, for me, it's just the limitation of, thank God I don't have walls big enough to do that with. But then again, I can have more shapes, more places, right? But then I don't really, because I considered also putting the shape in the bedroom, right, on the back of the wall, and taking the Bang & Olufsen logo from above the headboard and putting that there. But then that is the neighboring wall of my neighbor's bedroom, so I'm sure that we're basically like sleeping head to head, right, and with the wall in between. So I can't have a fucking 4-tile speaker shape.
Snoring.
Well, for me, it would be the bass. And if I were to put that in there, I would probably hook up a BeoLab 11 on it, I guess, just to offset the shit a little.
Yeah, put it on the other side of the room if you can.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, it's too bad that the shape is. I think the one thing that they really need to consider is an ability to enable the DPL on the BeoConnect core in a shape configuration.
Yes.
I think that has to happen, because then it really doesn't matter, because if you have a shape, I guess you lose the band on the wall, right? If you were to drive it from the theater as not just rear channels or side channels, but actual left and right speaker or whatever. But
that whole band on the wall thing, I don't think really starts to matter until you have
it's a
6
speaker
or
3,
more
man.
speakers.
It's a speaker 3, really.
Yeah, but with 4 speakers, it kind of isn't optimized, right? Like you need more than 4 speakers anyway for band on the wall to sound.
That's the start. 4 speakers, absolutely minimum, right? Because you
Yeah.
have the center one, and then you have 1 on the left and 2 on the right, or vice versa. Depends on what the design is like. So one side has more power than the other. So yes, I would suggest like 2 amps and 8 speakers. Then you start getting into something funky.
I mean, for a setup like Henrik had in his old place, where it's just, God, was it like 16 speaker tiles or something like that? Like band on the wall is amazing for that because it's so spread out. But you're also talking about like literally this entire wall full of shape, right?
Yeah, and like, yes, it's cool, but see, my problem is with it as far as mounting it here and debating to mount it here. Even though it was in my bedroom and it was really barely ever listened to really loudly, all of the wall anchors that I had in the wall where the speaker tiles were,
Yeah,
basically unscrewed loose with the screw. The micro vibration of the constant bass driver movement, it really, it just pulverized the drywall that these things were embedded in.
you can get
these
these.
No, I didn't have those. I had toggle bolts. Toggle bolts are good.
Yeah, these are sort of bolts, but you can.
But yeah, these expand as you screw them in. Yeah.
Yeah, but
are these for a half-inch or a 3/4 inch?
These are 1/4 inch.
No, a 1/4 inch drywall or half-inch drywall, like 3/4 inch drywall.
Half-inch drywall.
Yeah, yeah, that would work.
They also have a rubber
grommet.
Yeah.
So where the fuck did you find these, man?
When I was moving.
But that's not how, because that's not a Home Depot thing.
I don't know. He had several of them. Like I have.
Fuck you. I've never seen those with the rubber padding.
I can send you some if you like.
Oh, this. No. I'm gonna look this shit up, bro. Home Depot.
I mean, what they also have these like little anchors.
Yeah, so they don't spin.
Yeah, and they have like a point where you can just you can hammer them in like that.
That's some fucking DARPA anchors, man. son of a bastard.
I mean, I saw them and I too thought, like, that's amazing. I need some of those.
Yeah, no, that's insane.
Let's see. Is there? It sort of says there's no branding on them. There
Fudge.
is on the red side. I can't see in this current light. So I'll send you a picture later.
Yeah, because I've used those. They're called Duo Power, which is those black, red and gray anchors.
Yeah.
Those are really good. I put my string shelves on it, but I've never seen them with the pad, like the rubber padding. That's sick.
I think somebody had issues with vibrations and stuff coming off the wall.
Oh, fucking rights they did, man. And hollow anchors, no. I'm still looking. Sorry, chat. And they don't have these. They don't have them in Home Depot. So that's gonna be a freaking Amazon little bit of diggage.
Yeah.
To get these, but that's a great idea for the Shape.
BeoTalk.
That
drywall anchor edition.
Well, fuck, man, that's a good resource of an information right there. Except now we don't know where to buy them. I'm sure that whoever sees that and weaponizes their autism will find what the freaking brand name of this is. But yeah, that's European ones for sure. No.
No.
You bought them here?
No, I didn't buy them. When I was moving, my grandfather-in-law, he had a bucket of these.
No, you should have left him a handful and taken a bucket. What the fuck? These are awesome.
I mean, I took what 12. Like, I don't know what to hang with these currently, because it's not for like, this is overkill for pictures and stuff like that. So
no fucking rights it is. Get a Shape. Put the speaker tiles on.
I'm running out of wall space.
That went full circle, didn't it?
I mean, I'm not opposed to getting a Shape, but at the moment, I wouldn't know where to put them.
Behind you, there's a little bit of wall space. Put like 6 tiles.
And just have like a Shape and 18s in here. What do I do with those?
Play them together. Daisy chain, bro. Daisy chain.
18s and 19 is enough for in here.
Just get the dummy and just get the dummy Shape. Just no speakers in it. Just so you have some fabric and tiles on the wall. That'll work.
Yeah, no, I mean, she has a bunch of bookcases, so she wouldn't really. What's in the safe? Stuff for safekeeping.
Exactly, all the safekeeping things.
That's what they're for, right? Like.
It's funny.
Oh, what was I going to say?
I don't know. So Sheila's about to make a mistake of his life and sell his.
Oh yeah. How does a pair? Well, I'm not sure I agree with that personally. How does a pair of 18s and a 19 compare to 20s? I'm downsizing, so need smaller speakers. I prefer the look of 18s compared to 8s. I sort of agree with you, especially if they're your main speakers, right? Like the 18s are nicer to look at. The 8s are better speakers, but if you have a 19 with it, but how did it compare to 20s? Personally, I think you'll lose some bass, but gain a bit nicer mid-range. Personally.
And depends where you put them as well, because 20s are limited by the height, right?
Yes. Don't get me wrong. 20s are perfectly nice speakers, but to me, they sound a bit weird. Like, so the tweeter is amazing, the bass is amazing, but the mid range is a bit like it's 2-3 feet further back. Obviously, a 19 doesn't compare to the 2 10-inch drivers in the 20s.
No,
so the 20s will output more bass. But if you're downsizing, it seems like bass won't really be an issue, right? I take it's going to be in a smaller room.
Yeah.
I mean, another thing, the 19, I very much like my 19, don't get me wrong, but a 10-inch driver at the same frequency sounds different than an 8-inch driver.
Well, there's less air being pushed no matter what.
Yeah, but there's a sort of almost tonal shift where it's a bit more punchy coming out of an 8-inch. I mean, I would say 8 is where bass starts to become nice. Like the 6.5-inch of the 28 is a bit like it's punching too hard, right? Like it's doing too much. Like you don't have that feeling with the 19. The 20s have a much easier time because it's just so much bigger.
19 is wonderfully tuned sub.
Yes. So how do they compare? Yeah, that's more or less it. I do think the mid range on the 18s is nicer than on the 20s. But you lose some bass. But do you care if you're downsizing?
Yeah, well, realistically speaking, how much space are you losing if you move into let's say a condo or an apartment that is a smaller room, and then the piss
Yeah,
off the
I mean,
neighbors factor goes higher too.
I mean, I guess it's not even total output, right? But it's a sort of spreading of bass because you have two sides that do equal amounts, and
And it's more accurate because some stereo tracks have more bass in one or the other speaker and whatever, or channel rather. So yeah,
yeah,
the
lots of Led
subwoofer,
Zeppelin stuff has that where like
the
if you
real drum kit, you can hear it going.
yeah. I mean, if you listen on the headphones and you take one ear cup off or put it behind your ear, right, like you lose half the song, and it's really weird.
Yeah.
I mean, any TV solution with a 19 will solve that, but it is sort of like the left and right get pushed into one place, which is not necessarily bad. It's just different, but
Yeah.
put it this way, like BeoLab 1s and a 2 was perfectly pleasant to listen to. I had that for years. Loved it. So I don't think, I mean, it's certainly more pretty. Like 18s and a 19, I think is a lot prettier than 20s.
20s, I never like the look of. I other than in white color when they're brand new, because over time the mid range and the woofer they breathe in all the dust through the grills, and then you can see that the perforation basically behind the fabric. That's the only gripe that I have with those speakers. To me, yeah, I was never really a big fan of that design. I was kind of mad about them when they first came out because of the nines were my favorites. Like nines design for some reason they just looked good to me.
Yeah, I'm the opposite way. The 9s never look good to me. I like the 20s a whole lot more.
But to me, I felt like they robbed the design of the 18s. You know what I mean? They just like, okay, let's just recycle this acoustic lens top exactly the same and put it on the 20 now, right? We'll make the 9 a little taller, right? We'll make the little V cut here, like it's now in the office, right? And obviously put the digital amps in it and whatever. And it was less wattage than the 9s were, so that's when I was like, ah. And
But there was also less loss due to heat.
of course, they are well. It's how many years ahead of what the nines were when they were designed, right? So, yeah. Also, I've had a friend and a client from a long, long, long time that he bought my last Lab 9s, and he somehow I don't know what happened, ended up dropped the book on it, ripped the grill a month ago.
Wow.
No covers are available from B&O, so please be careful with your nines grills, because if they go for good. We got to look at that for the rest of their existence, unless you find somebody to re-grill them.
If you move them, tip them backwards, never ever forwards, because that's
the 20s. Oh fuck! How many times I've seen that fabric ripped on the bottom because people don't know how to move them.
Well, they did that right to get to the connections.
I keep that little slip that comes with it. I still have them in one of my like weird B&O service kit things. That if I ever work with those, I always put it on and I still tilt them the other way anyways, but it's good to have a safety.
BeoLab 20s are not on the website anymore.
No.
Interesting.
This thing is dying like nobody's business. Well, they've been discoed for a while. 5s are not on the website anymore, are they?
No, but they've been discontinued 10 years ago.
I guess so. Fuck, it's been that long, eh?
Yeah. Well, okay, 8. 2017 was the last year you could buy them.
Refined, forceful sound. 15,000 US. When the heck? Where is that from? Is it the B&O's website?
Yeah, old page. You
No.
can still find it if you go through Google, but it doesn't load on the homepage.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was the era when they started with those crazy colors, the driftwood and forged iron gray. Remember, that was when the BeoVision 11s came out with those funky grills, and then they made the nicest grill ever with the BB14, which was also the worst TV ever.
Yeah, the frame was awesome. It's just Google.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, to this day, that's partially why I refuse to buy anything Google, right? Because there's just literally no guarantee that SoC will be updatable in even 2-3 years.
No, and that's the problem. Oh shit! You hear that?
It's a fire alarm?
No, that's the Beo time because they set it for 2:30. I know, so I don't forget to turn it back on because I don't want to fuck around with the plunger, right? Because I don't want to break that little wire and then it stops working or chiming. So I just keep it like poof, just push it, and I forgot. So now I have to go to my BLI and cancel the fucking macro. Because I was running my morning sequence, and I noticed because my pendant light went up. So yeah, that's what happens when you forget. But the weird thing is, dude, I can hear that Beo time with noise cancellation on the headphones, and it was over you talking. That's how attuned I am to the Beo time alarm clock now.
I mean, the 20s can't have been EOL for that long, because in March of 23, Audio Science Review did a review of them, apparently.
I think we sold our last pair in 2023 in the shop. Send the link to Shield. I'm very interested. I wonder do they have the rubber on them or not, because I found the ones without the rubber grommet.
What are they called? I don't think you can send links because YouTube blocks it.
Oh. Yeah, I'm very interested in those because that's either doing that. Who is cutting out those shapes on Discord? The back panels for the shapes.
Oh, it's Lupus, and he has some guy in Germany or the Netherlands do it. Somewhere on the border in the south of the country.
Okay.
And somebody else did it themselves.
I'm going to have to do it myself because I'm not shipping this across the ocean. It's a big board. It's going to be 2x1 meter design.
You can just like put it together, right, on some tracing paper or on wood and then trace around it.
Yeah, my process, I'm thinking I'm going to put it at the hex tiles, right? I'm going to click-clack them together and masking tape, stick them to the wall to see what shape, because I want to go higher up to the ceiling, more or less.
Mm-hmm.
And then if I agree with me on that shape, take a picture, take it all down, put it on the plywood or MDF, maybe. I don't know. Maybe I'll buy like a nice sheet of plywood, it's gonna be expensive, but I now want to put that shit that you put a subfloor on, right? Like on the subfloor. Like I want a nice piece of wood, and then I'll jigsaw it out, sand it nicely, because I want to have a channel that is. I don't remember what the Philips ULED width are, but I think they're 1/2 inch. Because I want to put the LED strip.
So.
Yeah, I want to put the LED strip all across the round of it. 'Cause I want to put the LED strip all across the round of it. 'Cause I want to put the LED strip all across the round of it. 'Cause I want to put the LED strip all across the round of it. 'Cause I want to put the LED strip all across the round of it. 'Cause I want to put the LED strip all across the round of it. 'Cause I want to put the LED strip all across the round of it. 'Cause I want to put the LED strip all across the round of it. 'Cause I want to put the LED strip all across the round of it. 'Cause I want to put the LED strip all across the round of it. 'Cause I want to put the LED strip all across the round of it. 'Cause I want to put the LED strip all across the round of it. 'Cause I want to put the LED strip all across the round of it. 'Cause I want to put the LED strip all across the round of it. 'Cause I want to put the LED strip all across the round of it. ' because that's gonna look hot. Leo's going wild again.
No, this is BeoWorld or Multicare.
That looks good.
I mean, Multicare in the UK has like their own anodizing baths and stuff like that.
That's a stellar job on color combos. I don't even like gold, but God, that looks good.
Yeah.
That looks really good. Are these machine raised? It looks like it.
Yeah, I don't know. But like they can do absolutely anything. Like they're not just like, oh, we're certified for refurbishing 4000s, right? No, they literally if you send most refurbishment places, if you have like the classical fingerprints in here, right, you get those back essentially, maybe polished a bit, but like no, if you want to, these guys can go the whole way. They'll strip the anodizing and put new anodizing on.
Well, fudge, if you're going that far with it, I would just go all the way, right? Like,
It's not in their $5,000 B&O kit normally. Like you get new bearings, you get a new internal board, that sort of thing, right? But you don't get a fully newly anodized platter
Plate.
or whatever.
No, that looks very cool. That's nice too. I'm a big red color fan, but that's not. I think the picture doesn't do the justice for the red.
Probably not.
100%. But it looks fucking good. Nah, not my color, but nice. Like, are these all real or that's just rendered?
No, these are real.
Hell.
You don't see the plastic wrap around the
Well,
lid?
yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Like, because it's on the same, but the plastic doesn't look the same wrapped on each of those covers, so they look like they're different. But that is sweet. Yeah, I think I would go for the red one, I guess, out of all the colors now that I've seen it.
info@multicare.org.uk. So, copy.
I would inverse the colors on this. That's what I would do. I would completely inverse the colors.
I think you get a set of Steve's cables with it too. So
sweet.
I mean, that's the only way you can get Steve's cables in the US.
Ship them through Vatican to Canada, in fact. That's funny. That's so sad. Like, you know what I mean? That you can't buy it here, but it is what it is. We're already limited enough as it is with the resource from the shops,
Yeah, I guess we'll see how it goes in the near future here in North America. Look, I don't really know what to make of it all.
Neither do I. But it's starting to get scary, I guess, a little bit with the pricing.
Yeah, I mean, I saw somebody on Discord saying that their dealer sort of hinted that September 1st is going to be a new price increase.
Oh, no fucking way.
It's like, didn't they say with the last one that there wouldn't be one for like at least a year or something? It's like, oh.
From what I remember, yeah. They need to come up with a new product and something solid. Like, theater's beautiful and awesome, but, by the time that thing lost its, birth crutches, it's been a year and a half.
Yes.
Right? So you need to bake that shit in the oven much longer, guys, if you're going to release a product. Like, don't... and they never learn, right? Because I also think that they're banking on the fact of the loyalty of people like us. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but that's not very... Look, they don't want us as customers because we're not very high net worth individuals, right? So
yeah,
you can't bank on us and then also say then you're not kind of our people. Like, what the hell?
Yeah, it's not the best strategy, but they know for a fact that they have that almost a bloodline followers, right? That it doesn't matter hell and high water, right?
Yeah.
It's you go and you put up with it. But for me as a technician, seeing that, it's also kind of sort of makes sense, because you always have the hot potatoes you got to deal with. But there's a lot of people that are affluent enough that they just buy these systems for like their cottage, so they visit it once a fucking week or whatever, and they already expect the fact that, because nothing really works when you come back there after a week with whatever randomly power goes out and brownouts and shit, like you're in the middle of sticks, right? Barely any internet. So yeah, they are accustomed to the fact that they reboot everything and then it just all works.
The thing is, if
But
you're looking for the tech bros in this country, right, with the immense amounts of money, or like the Wall Street guys, they don't go
no,
for that.
no,
Like
they're not gonna
they
put
will
up with it.
literally just buy a power wall to stop all that nonsense from happening, right? Because you just want to walk in and everything works.
Yes. And then you still are at odds.
Yeah. I mean, like, who gives a shit if my cottage is like, I don't know, $2 million? I'm just going to put 15 grand in for a power wall, just so, like, if there are brownouts or blackouts, whatever, like, I'm not going to even put solar panels on, right? I just want that power to be there.
You know what though? But when I went back a few times to Calgary, I've always unplugged my B&O, because I just don't trust the fucking thing here, right? I've
Yeah.
unplugged all the B&O off the wall. Fuck it. I'm gonna come back to blue smoke in the '90s, still hovering. Fuck, inside the sails.
I
Oh
mean,
no.
I have a whole home surge suppressor, so
Yeah,
that kind of helps.
yeah, but here it's even though it's this building is, we're far enough, but we're still not far enough to not have issues with power. Like I said, I've never had that problem in Alberta when I lived there, but Quebec, apparently they produce so much electricity that they have not enough of it. So
Very French.
I don't get it. So anyway, but yeah, so if the products were a little more baked, would be better, and also if there was a little bit more coming out than new colors for the very established portfolio items, like the Beosound 2, right? Instead, we're
Yeah.
on Gen 3 milking it. I understand the A9 or Beosound A9, whatever you want to call it at this point. I think that's a legendary system now. That is outliving the 18s as a design icon, if you think about it.
Yeah, but in many ways that makes sense, because it's never meant to,
Well,
or
it's
never was a
upgradable.
TV speaker, right? Like it's its own integrated thing.
Yeah, but still, like, as far as the design goes,
Yes.
we're on what, fifth generation, I believe it is, on the A9s with the
Yeah,
mold
but for the
clipping.
18s, I mean, there's no upgrade path, right? You're stuck with
No,
whatever
no, no, no.
drives them, and like the A9 has space to put more buttons, and since it is its own thing.
Yeah.
I mean, in terms of design, I don't think the 18s are very much EOL'd in that sense. It's more of like what you do with them when the rest is all touch capacity or touch sensitive. And
Yeah. Yeah, they're still beautiful. I won't give up on them. There was also a chat on Discord, or a suggestion on Discord to make aluminum lamellae for the 18s.
yes,
I would strongly consider buying it, but I don't think that I would be able to put them on, because they would block all the RF to the receivers, because they're
well, that's
mostly at the front.
most likely for sure.
So they
Also,
would be power linkable only.
it would probably be too much of a block of aluminium at that point.
I think it would look too busy. But they could do the same as the Art Deco project is for the theater, because it's the middle lamella start at the center of the lens, so it's uneven number of lamellae on the Beolab 18. So you could start with one silver, two walnut, silver, walnut, silver, walnut, and then whatever hands up at the back, uh, or the side panels, you would hope to have in wood, because it'd be easier to deal with. than machining the entire side panel for the aluminium, right?
Yeah.
The two end lamellae. So yeah, you would have to do a love me not all the way to the center and see what comes up.
Harry Mark, you're always first. Once you get to, would you please tell me if it's worth upgrading my H95 headphones to the new H100 sound-wise?
I
God,
would say
that's
yes.
so. Yeah, but at what price, right?
Yes.
Is that $1,000 increase now? If you even get $500 trade, well, they're $1,800 now, aren't they? With
I think so.
I mean, when I reviewed them, right, they were $1,500 or €1,500, if I'm not mistaken, and they've shot up like crazy.
Well, because we couldn't keep them in stock, bro. So obviously, it's a commodity that has more value, so they're gonna juice it.
Oh, I am actually wrong. They're $2,200 US.
Shiitake mushrooms.
I don't know what that means for wherever you are, but at that point, I would probably say no. Because even if B&O trades in your H95s, which they did for, you're in Canada, so they're probably, what, $3,000?
God, yeah, they're gonna be.
So maybe B&O gives you $700 for your H95s, right? Is it a $2,300 upgrade? Holy moly!
Plus tax.
Like,
Je me souviens, bro.
yeah. Here, let's go to Canada. Let's see what is the price in Canada. 2,600 Canadian.
Yep.
So even if you get trade in, like that's like $2,000, $1,900 more. Like, don't get me wrong, the H100s are better, right? Like that's not really in question. But you already have H95s, so it's sort of like, is it worth it? I don't know. Like, do you have that sort of money to like sitting there burning a hole in your wallet? Then sure,
I
go
would
for
say
it.
if you're a headphone enthusiast, it would be somewhat worth it as a B&O collector because you either add them and or trade them. I don't know. I never really tend to get rid of my B&O that easy.
Yes.
And so we're looking at a $2,600 price tag for the new set of headphones. Would they be worth that? Depends. To me, they would be worth, honestly, for a hardwire play because that's where they shine the most. When it comes to the Bluetooth, the limitation of the transmission of the data is identical, if not similar, to the H95s. So you can't really make those H95s any better than because it's just capped off on the Bluetooth part. But if
The
you hook them up through
DSPs.
USB-C, then it's a different story completely. They fucking sound great. And honestly, like when I had them and I tested them around, even the Dolby Surround simulated for my fucking game, right? Whatever, right? But there's still the sound is great, man. The sound through USB-C was absolutely fantastic because you're not dependent on the DAC more or less from your device if you're doing it through H95's headphone jack. Because you're truly listening to the DAC of the H95s at that point.
I mean,
So,
they are very much a pinnacle moment of B&O headphone making, and I know that because, like, I know Neo, who worked on this forever, and it was really was his baby, and he, like, it was a labor of love and a complete redesign and that sort of thing in many ways. It's just like, especially for us in North America, right? Like the tariffs and that sort of stuff. Like,
it starts to be very taxing for the upgrade that you end up getting for what you pay for it.
I mean, and I can't look in your wallet, right? Like, if you have this sort of money that you're just usually
Willing to
spend on
spend.
headphones, then yes, it's very much worth it. But if you're stretching to buy these, then I don't know where you are in terms of financials. Like that starts to matter.
Yeah.
At this point. And since you already have the second best thing, right? It's like it's sort of like you telling me like it's absolutely necessary upgrade to 90s because I have 50s, right? It's sort of like, okay, I don't have that urge.
And how much would I gain trading 250s for a pair of 90s, really?
Yeah.
Especially if you're a movie watching person predominantly, where I'm more musical based, or well, now it's more freaking podcastish nonsense spoken word. So the 90s barely ever kick on. I quite honestly listen to the SPDIF input from the 9000 and the 90s more than I listen to the Deezer.
So I would say if you have the money, right, and you won't miss it, go for it. Yes, they are better. But are they straight up worth it compared to H95s if you already have them? Like nothing
I
is
guess the
cheaper than
best thing
having
is,
something you already have, right?
yeah, come to the Beosound shop or go to the Vancouver store. I don't know what part of the country you're on, but there's only two
It's probably
options really.
dead in the middle, like 2,000
Then
miles,
I
2,000.
think you might be getting lucky in Regina, Saskatchewan. If I forget that gentleman's name, the dealership there. Oh,
He's
you're in
in Vancouver.
Vancouver? Yeah, then just go to Vancouver and talk to Yunho and listen to both. Like, well, you don't really need to listen to both because you already know the sound signature of your H95s. Obviously, you've had them for more than a week, I hope. And just go and listen to the. But I would honestly say listen to the the H100s with a fucking USB-C, bro. Because otherwise, I understand like your predominant listening will be in Bluetooth mode most likely because you're gonna be walking around doing things, and also the goddamn cable kind of chafes and transfers the noise into the headphone. Doesn't matter how good the noise canceling is. But let's say you just smoke a joint and sit on a couch and not move, put a USB-C cable on there, and you'll be in a completely different headspace because that's where the sound that's where they become the BeoLab 90s on your ears. Honestly, that's where the accuracy is the best when you throw in the USB-C connection. I'm not talking of smoking pot, but that just enhances everything, anyways. But they are very, very, very accurate. And at the time, I was listening to Tidal because I subscribed for a month or whatnot, right? And yeah, the lossless files and stuff, unbelievable. And I also listened to 192 24-bit music that I have on the hard drives, and through the computer USB-C out as well again. And yeah, the experience of that acoustically is absolutely nothing. Nothing is in B&O's realm better than the H100s once you cable in.
Yeah.
So that's my opinion of them.
I mean, but the real question that he asked, like, is it worth it, right? Like, I can't tell you that.
That's for you to make the decision if it's worth it to you or not. Like, I can't tell you, go fucking buy it. Like, if I tell you to jump off the cliff, would you? So it's that's apparent. That's all up to you. And if you see the worth in it, oh fuck the $2,600 and get them. You know what I mean? Like, it's just what it is. To me, it's the same thing. Like, do I really need a theater grill? You know what I mean? Do I really, really need it? No, I don't fucking need it, but I am going to get it because I would love to look at it, and I'm gonna be looking at it. And then the walnut, which is now Atelier, right? So it's like $5,000. So my walnut cover basically doubled in money worth. I'm still gonna keep it because I'll swap it around and see. So
I mean, but if you look at the price, which is best for you, like it's almost 2x in pricing, right? Like even if you buy them new right now from B&O, like the H100s are better. Don't get me wrong, but they're not 2x better. I mean, it's like I wouldn't even say 90s are 2x better than 50s, right? But like you're so far down the law of diminishing returns. It's hard to say. Like,
yeah, It's a hard not just it's a hard shell to crack, I guess, when it comes to that. But
Yeah.
you can definitely tell when the '90s are playing in the showroom versus the '50s.
Oh, for sure.
Fucking hey,
Look,
that's
I'm not saying the '90s aren't worth it, right? But if you, I don't know, make 100 grand a year, right? Currently, that's like with 2 years of salary without taxes, you're not even there yet. So,
I think
like,
'90s became from an affordable, top of the line, best in the world speaker to more or less a financial dick swing.
yeah,
Unfortunately, because now and now they sell more of them than ever because they are expensive enough, which is kind of funny but and ironic. But the people that I would think that the most would appreciate those speakers, they are out of the range of affordability.
though I think it's different in Europe. I mean, like especially New York and that sort of area, right? Like that financial dick swinging is something that happens so much more frequently. Same for City of London, right? Like we're
Yes.
just buying this shit because it's expensive, not because it's good, just because like fuck you, I have more, and I want
Hmm.
you to know it.
Well, but that's also Calgary was like that back in 2004 to 2008 when people shoveled
Oil
money off
money.
their driveway. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It was, and the dollar I think was almost up to par, if not more than the U.S. at the time.
Yes.
Dude, it was sickening. Like I was in the architectural world, but I was a barfly in the Bang& and Olufsen store whenever I had time, and that's I guess we can get into the actual topic of the today's podcast of your first encounter with
I
BNO.
don't really make topics. I have to
But
think of something to title it.
but yeah, why not? Let's talk about that. We've talked about it long, long, long time ago, and usually we made a tradition of people asking them how they gotten into the BNO when they joined the podcast for a show or whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that was it was a store that opened because back then when I moved to Calgary in 1998, well 1999 because we got in the October, so I don't really count those few months because I never really went downtown. But at the time, it was the K&W Audio on 14th Street, 14th Ave and 4th Street that carried Bang& and Olufsen in a little like a store in store that they had a corner with like all the Beosound Centuries and 8000s, and I think that was the old Avant in the display, and that was the first time I've actually seen the B&O in the store, other than my friend's house in Slovakia before we moved out. And yeah, I used to be in the architecture, so after a few years, not even a few years, it was not long, I think 6 months, but they figured out that I got mouth on me, so and I can negotiate. I was put in charge of development of all the projects that the architectural firm was pushing. So I was one that has to push them through the city. And at the time, it was so busy that if I were to go there and submit the drawings, I would have to wait like 2-3 hours in line. So I befriended everybody in the at the counter, right? And love goes through the stomach. So a couple fucking dozen donuts of Tim Hortons. Who cares? It's a fucking office expense. So you sugar them up a little bit, and then I would go in there. I would put my rolls of drawings in the back, and they would wait, and then they would call me like 15 minutes heads up that my number's going to be up, so I'm come back to the city hall. And B&O shop was 3 blocks away from it, so I would just go to the B&O store and fuck with the systems and play with it and talk with the guys, and that went on for years. And then finally one day, the guy quit, and I took his job. And then the rest, B&O is history, because ever since then it was just main line all the way. So
Yes, so far it seems to be. Well, let people vote. I put a straw. Was it a poll in chat? And like I put down, I finally got into B&O when I was a kid, young/parents, right? Through us podcast, saw it and finally had some money. Or other, like I don't know how else you could get it. Maybe you got an ad that worked on you. I don't know.
So
I mean, there's a quite iconic picture of Steve with B&O in the background, and he's a baby.
yeah,
Like he's literally like, oh, Steve.
smaller than the speakers, fudge. That was yeah, the yesteryears.
I mean, I quite honestly, I think in the Netherlands there was a and still is. Well, maybe less so than back then, but from like the 80s to the end of 2010s, right? There was this whole B&O interior design craze thing going on. And I mean, it was a properly middle class thing, right? And it was something nice
Yeah.
enough that even the upper class could get away with
Yes.
because it wasn't too flashy.
Well, I've grown up in a communism, right? So the
Yeah.
borders were closed. So for me, that was non-existent. And I think the only place that was possible to see it would have been like Warsaw, Poland, because Poland was more open trade than we ever were. Like all the Lego prior to the border collapsing or commies collapsing, all of my Lego was bought in Poland and smuggled in under the car seats and shit into the country. That's how I've grown up with toys.
Yeah.
So it's a bit different now, right? Now, because here everything is everywhere, and now we're in an era of Amazon where you're not really limited by your locale, but more or less your imagination of what the fuck do you need.
It's kind of interesting that that is still within our lifetimes, right? I don't think anybody really thinks of it much anymore. But it's not like you're like 80 or something, and this was a decade
No, well, I
ago.
remember when in the early 90s we were laughing that there's no way people are going to give money up on internet to buy stuff. Are you kidding me? That's crazy. Fuck, look at it now, man. Like, you don't even do your groceries anymore. Just get them brought into the goddamn apartment with a couple bags.
Yeah, but more importantly, the communism. Like, there was literally an iron curtain going through Europe, right? And
I've grown up on 4 channels.
I mean, that literally happened in our lifetimes, and we sort of
Yeah.
go, whatever. It's always been as it is currently.
I was outside when the fucking Chernobyl went up, bro. And we were what, maybe 500 kilometers away?
You're like, food, mushrooms.
Straight line. When I remember we were at my grandpa's cottage, and the radio blew up and everybody inside and blah blah blah. And it didn't rain that day, which was good, but because that probably would have been worse.
Yeah.
But the shit was blowing towards Sweden anyways, because they're the ones that shot the alarms off. Also in
everywhere.
Yeah, because I remember also in Slovakia there was a nuclear power plant, Jaslovské Bohunice, and that one they thought that they had a leak. For God's sakes, their alarms went up. So the amount of radiation that I've absorbed in over the years, the amount of corners of ketchup packets that are floating through my system, I'm good. I'll don't
you
smoke.
just stand in front of these X-ray printouts, right? And you radiated.
Yeah, or just show up as completely black because I get more radiation than the X-ray puts out.
Yeah, I mean the first B&O I distinctly remember having in the house was the chocolate bar remote TV.
MX 2000 probably or something.
God, I think it had a flap where you could still manually change channels, right?
Yeah, back then because everything was UHF, right?
Yeah, I mean, like you had a remote, right, which at the time was sort of wow. But then
was it IR already? It was IR, correct?
Yeah. God, this was this TV was probably from like 88 or something like that.
Yeah, I was gonna say late 80s for sure.
I mean, they had IR in like 82 or something like that.
Yeah, because the ultrasonic remote. I have all the remotes actually, but I left them in Calgary. I don't have a whole collection of all the remotes. Early 90s, I was hooked. Yeah, dude, those speakers are psychological damage when you listen to them because the music never sounds the same.
I mean, to me, it's quite easy to sort of put stuff in place because, like, I was born here and as a kid here, right? So anything being overlaid was Europe.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's really not that popular here still.
No. But the people that hear it go like, "Whoa,
it looks great and it sounds awesome." And
I mean, even Andrew Robinson has it, right? Like he did a whole video about like what changed his perspective on audio, and it was B&O Shop.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I forget where he said it was, but it was. I mean,
There's the Bruce
Nevada, like
Willis movie. Yeah, the freaking what's that called with Lilu? It just lapses my brain right now.
yeah. But for me, like in the Netherlands and in Denmark, right? Like B&O is something your parents have, and then you grow up and you finally go, Jesus, this is actually quite like how it's supposed to be. I don't like really want to live the separates life. And if nothing else, the separates life, right, means separate remotes, which is the most annoying thing.
Yes.
Like, which remote do I use to turn up the volume? Well, you can do this for a little bit, but then this for main volume. And
here's your Apple TV remote, and here's your volume control from the TV. If you want to, okay, VCR is this remote, but you need to use the TV remote to change the input.
yeah.
And then you have a DVD or Blu-ray, right? Because that was another one that was set in there. And then what else would you have? Well, Apple TV was way later in life, but not really, because I think in like 2000s the big Apple TV came out with the YPBPR outputs, so you can actually pipe it into the Biosystem One. Those were the days of yore. So, yeah.
I mean, but I guess where I'm trying to go is to me, and I think to a lot of Danes, right? Because the Dutch are just about as crazy about B&O as the Danes are.
Mm-hmm.
Like B&O was very much a sort of like a family brand of sort of out there, sort of a bit esoteric audio that like nobody really understood, and everything was like you had these special cables that nobody else worked with, but it just worked, right? But you also bought it once and then kept it forever.
Yes.
And I guess we're moving away from that, and that also leaves a heck of a lot of like people that grew up with it just not able to afford it. Like if your dad was like an accountant in the 90s and he could buy a B&O TV and some speakers, right? If you're the same accountant now, you can't buy it anymore. Like now you need to be, I don't know, the CFO of like PricewaterhouseCoopers or something like that. Like one of these multinational accountants things.
Yeah. No, you need to have a chubby budget to go for a B&O nowadays.
I mean, if you're the prime minister of the Netherlands, right, I think your pay is like 120 grand a year. Like, what are you buying from B&O that you can afford well, right, beyond your normal living expenses?
Do it on the layaway.
Yeah, exactly. But that's what they've started to do now. Like, you pay it off with interest. Like, okay, I guess that's... but, like, literally, a pretty wealthy country, the prime minister doesn't make enough money to, like, just go and say, I want that and that.
Mm-hmm.
Like a theater and let's say a set of eights is quite a ding on your yearly income.
That's half of it, or less. It's about 50 grand. No, Canadian.
Yeah, but
Canadian.
I mean, it's
40.
about 25 to 30, depending a bit. But like that's let's say
depends what theater you go with, right? If you go with the Atelier, then like
I mean that's like a fourth of your annual income, and you're the prime minister of the country. Right? This.
I don't know about the Netherlands prime minister, but the one we had before, he was way wealthier after he started.
Yeah, Dutch politicians don't tend to be that wealthy.
Yeah, well, they need to learn from the WEF, I guess.
Oh, they love that place, but
God, yes.
Doofy says my parents had a B&O TV in around 1967, the year after World Cup.
That stuck with you, I guess, as a vivid memory of the TVs.
I mean, like Les says, he owns 90s now, right? He's never gave them much attention until saw them in a dealer through the window. Like this is again why like dealerships are so important.
You need that human contact with it, and more or less to communicate the craftsmanship and the quality of it than anything else, because none of that rendering nonsense
It's not
strikes the
real.
same note and emotion than when you see these things for real and you see them in front of you. Like, let's say Lab 8, they're beautiful. They're not that great looking when you're looking at them from the, the video game rendering nonsense point of view. But in real life, when the real light breaks off them and you just see them and then you turn them on and you listen to them, they blow you away. Because it doesn't make sense from that small of a speaker, this much coming out.
I mean, let's go through there. Like, you get no sense of scale from them, from any of this, right? Online.
No, not really. Yeah, because here they can look like, little table speakers.
Yeah. I mean,
Sure.
and unless you know which harmony this is, and you have a harmony, right?
Yes.
It still gives you no skill. It still doesn't give you really the depth.
I guess the only reference you get is the goofy planter there and stuff, right? Like, or the chair a little bit that gives you a dimensional idea.
I think they look much bigger in real life. They're much more present than.
Oh, the black ones are way more dominant. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Black ones are way too dominant.
I mean, with these pictures, right? Like this on the right one here looks like a mid-range, but that's a 10-inch driver. Like, that's a big fuck you driver.
Exactly.
It's just that this one is way bigger.
Yeah, it doesn't communicate the scale and size of it, definitely, till you see them in front of you, and then holy cow. I guess here you can kind of gauge the sense of them with the big sofa.
Yeah, but just about everything in this picture seems fake to me.
No, I think this is real. Look at the 50s are plugged into the floor set.
Yeah, I understand, but this sort of satin shading over the whole thing.
Maybe just lens filters or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. But why isn't it just a picture, right? Like, I mean, this setup is so close to perfect. Like, why do you need to augment it?
Because we're in the era of filters, and everybody has a need to put a goddamn filter on things.
Yeah, I understand that they have a need to, but you shouldn't do it. I mean, like, this is in no way your eyes perceive it.
No.
I mean,
Unless
also,
you got,
like, if you look through
sunglasses.
if you look through this window, right, with this whatever sort of fogger, like, it's like you're in an enchanted forest almost. It seems like.
Yeah, it's or it's I don't know. I don't know how they took that picture, but it's doctor, that's for sure.
I mean, the only, like, where is it? Is it design? Like,
yeah, there you go.
You get some of these measurements, right? But you sort of have to get like moving boxes out and sort of make this thing to get an idea of the size of it.
Use the AR app, I guess.
The AR app is quite good, and I do like it. But I have had several times where I put a 50 next to my 50, and like the AR 50 is like 10% bigger.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
And I don't know if it's just the angle I'm holding it or something, or if it thinks it's like closer to me than it is, or.
Interesting. I never installed an AR app on my. Well, I guess it's not on the Android, right? It's just on the Apple's.
Don't know, actually.
By the way, I've been running that new version of the app for now 2-3 weeks, whatever, since it came out.
Yes.
As a whatever beta. Absolutely very, very happy with it. So far, no issues. I've seen some people had like Spotify mysteriously come on and whatnot on Discord, but I've not had any issues, and it's snappier than a pistol. It's really,
you don't
really
wear
quick.
headphones inside, right?
In my house?
Yes.
Connected to the TV sometimes, yes. And I did that with the app as well.
Because somebody was saying that, like, when he was listening to music through the B&O app to his B&O headphones, that it would pop it off to the speaker that was closest or something like that.
I did not do that with. Well, I don't have Tidal anymore, so I can't really listen to the headphones through the app unless it triggers with the BNO radio. I can test that, but if I connect my headphones, they're connected to the LG panel.
Okay.
So it's for the YouTube. So when I do dishes and shit, I don't have to crank the theater, right? I can just noise canceling, and it's much more easier to do anything.
Yeah. But bring back dealers, please.
Yeah.
Like even if they're small, sort of pop-up stores. Like you don't need the whole thing necessarily everywhere, but
Yes.
I mean, whilst I agree that you have the flagship stores and you make sort of the homes in there, right? Like you can have just, I don't know, something twice the size of my office with just a few products so you can get a sense of size. And
Well, you can, the current portfolio more or less, unless you go for every size of the TV and variation, then it's possible. But if, let's say, I could squeeze the entire current portfolio into the living room and a bedroom, per se, right? Put a contour in the bedroom instead of the Avant, because it's still, I guess, semi-current. Or put a theater in the bedroom and put a harmony in here, type of thing. But I'm waiting for the new, whatever that new TV is gonna show up and look like, or sound bar, or sound center, sound system.
I mean, put it this way, right? Like there's a dealer in Miami, there's a dealer in Orlando.
Mm-hmm.
I live in Tampa, and Tampa is south of Orlando, north of Miami, obviously. But
Yeah.
like St. Petersburg is the city next to us, but it's like so like built together. It's everybody essentially calls it Tampa St. Pete.
Mm-hmm.
The total metropolitan area is 3.4 million people. There's an installer. That's it.
One guy.
Yeah.
Fucking hell.
And I'm not really even sure if they have a shop or anything like that. It's not something you can walk into if it is a shop. Like it's appointment only, right? Like, I mean, this city has the main fuel, this what you call it, the place they make fuel for the whole state is right in this city,
Refinery
in the harbor, right?
Mm-hmm. Refinery.
So, yeah, so there is a shit ton of money around.
Oh, 100%.
No B&O to be found.
That's a big loss, because people will buy these stack systems instead because they don't know.
Yes. And
you can live such a cleaner life with way more power and clarity.
It is that I have a friend that lives in Miami, right? That I don't mind going to Miami. But it's sort of like, if it was just for B&O, it's a 4 to 4.5 hour drive one way. I'm not doing that for just B&O, right? Like, no way.
Nah, it's worth it. If you're going to buy, then, or more or less you already bought it and go to pick it up, because I would rather not ship it than fucking risk nonsense.
Yeah,
but you're right. I think you're still in the European mindset mode of distances. Like, I just don't give a shit. I'll drive. If it takes 8 hours, I'll go 8 hours. Who cares?
I mean, like, but
yes, no matter the cost of fuel and
no,
whatever,
it's not
but
that.
I still,
the fuel in our car, like back and forth, is like $52.
Yeah, it's fucked up. Like, you got the hybrid, right? So
it's not a hybrid; it's just very fuel efficient.
But
I mean,
I don't know. I love driving. I love being on the road.
Look, I've done it back and forth in a day, right? But it makes for very long days. I would rather go to Orlando, but the thing is, like, Orlando traffic is such a goddamn shit show that you have to plan it, because it's like an hour and 15. But if you hit traffic, it can be easily 3 hours.
So like Montreal.
Yeah.
You don't go through certain times of the day. You just don't travel through that.
Yeah. So like, yes, it's closer, but Miami it's sort of similar, right? Because most of the way there, like 95% of the way, there's no traffic at all.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's I was almost shocked when I came back to Calgary in January after, like being here for 2 years and such, and a little, right? how different the traffic is here than there, because there really isn't any. The roads are wide enough that it accommodates for the volume.
Yeah.
And you come in here, it's like, fuck. And it's not just the traffic. It's all of a sudden you get to the place where it's not even on the bloody map that the road is closed and the pile-on party starts.
Yeah.
So,
Busted 82s was a polished Centuries and BeoVision 5s as a kid. It was in a lot of hi-fi shops in Denmark. Yeah, those were the days. I mean, there was a sort of white goods chain, Expert or something like that, called in the Netherlands.
mhm.
But they usually had like a basement, and that was full of B&O gear for a long ass time. And it was like total, or it was like the upper floor, right? But they sold like washers, dryers, that sort of thing.
Weird. And that B&O there too?
Yeah, like a lot of them did.
Interesting.
It was sort of like a sort of small Best Buy thing, but for like dishwashers, vacuum cleaners,
Like home appliances, basically.
fridges. Yes, and then they had a shit ton of B&O in there.
That's bizarre. That is crazy.
The village we lived in, there was one like literally 3 streets over. So when I was a kid, like quote unquote B&O dealer, right, was one in one of those, and it was. I mean, if you went on a bicycle, it was like 12 minutes.
Fuck.
I mean, if you went by car, your car was barely warm by the time you were there.
Yeah, that's European distances, brother. That doesn't happen here.
Yeah, but
Sure
I get that too. Like in Canada, I sort of get that, right? But you do have metropolises. Like,
yeah.
It's not like Calgary is so small and so poor that there's no chances there.
For a B&O store?
Yeah.
I think that would be a chance.
I mean, what's in Calgary right now? Like,
Nick.
sort of you and Nick?
Yeah. Nick's taking care of everybody that's legacy client. And I'm thankful for that, because then it would tarnish the brand's name even worse, because there is really nobody to help these people. And at some point you just like, am I gonna fly people from Vancouver, or they're gonna wait for me, to come on a chariot from fucking Montreal to visit my family so I can go and work a week in Calgary, right?
Yeah.
So, and then, like, what the fuck am I doing? Like, it's not really a holiday if I'm, renting a vehicle and then, running around with Nick's toolbox around the fucking city, or two cities, depends on where, because Edmonton and Calgary, that's, goes hand in hand. We have a lot of clients in Edmonton. There used to be a B&O store in Edmonton back in the yesteryears of time, called, I think, International Audio. They used to sell B&O in there. Obviously, they had a hard time doing a quality installation, because every time I visited, I knew exactly that it was International Audio's sale. But that's besides the point. Now there's nobody, and that's the sad part.
Yeah, let's see. Let's see, because if you, I don't know, let's say pick a larger city. Like, I mean, there's nothing in Mississippi, Alabama, or Louisiana apparently at all. Like, if you live in Cleveland, there's like the closest is an installer, I think, somewhere in north of Detroit, which is a totally different state, right? Or maybe in Indianapolis, which is again a different state. Like, I mean, where a lot of like very old money, like New Hampshire and Maine, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
or even Rochester, Buffalo. There's like nothing. The closest is New York City, which is like a 6-hour drive away. I mean, maybe is it a European mindset to sort of go like, if like stuff breaks and like they have to come, like, even if I call them now, and they were available, right, and if they left right now, the quickest they could be at my place is like tomorrow. Like, is would that not would you not consider that in like a purchasing decision?
Well, yeah, because you're buying, but that's again, I don't know. It's that argument goes the same for, like, we've had clients that lived in Calgary, of course, or let's say Canmore, right, which is an hour's drive. That's not that far. But then they would have another secondary house in Kelowna, which was 8 hours away, and they wouldn't pay the B&O in Vancouver to go and service it. They would pay us to go there for 8 hour drive and do it.
Yeah.
And they just didn't care. But usually it was something that, you try to schedule a lot more service calls for that area if it's possible. So like I used to do it when I would go, if I were to go to Kelowna, I would stay there for 2-3 days and then just do my rounds through everybody, call all the clients that I had on my contact list and just say, listen, I'm in Kelowna. If you need anything to be looked at, I am available from this and this time today or tomorrow. If you can make it work, let's do it. If not, désolé. And that was it. And I did the same thing when I was doing the rounds in Edmonton. People were happy because I didn't charge, just for one trip. I charged everybody combined mileage and time, and then and a service call. So it worked out very well. But yeah, it's not much on the map there, is there?
No, and it's all custom integration partners, which
Yeah.
is not the same thing as a store. You can just walk in, or like you. I personally feel the difference with a custom integration person is like you have to know them, right? Before, like you as
You
a
have to know
customer,
the product, bro. You have to know the
yeah.
product that you wanted because
But you're also
maybe
not
they
cold
have.
calling them like, "Hey, dude, I want to buy something." He's like, oh,
Yes.
"Okay."
And then further up you go, it's sadder and sadder.
I mean, I guess there's a B&O store near Denver. But this is more what I'm trying to say, right? Like, there's so many enormous metropolitan areas where, like, at best, there's one custom integration partner.
And how good are they in integrating the B&O,
Yeah, I mean, like, even if you have, like, where I live, like 0.1% of the people that can be your customer, right? That's still like 30,000 customers.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and we have what you call it, an NHL team and a football team here that are all in the top leagues. Like where
Punch in Canada on the top instead of USA. See how many show up. There's gonna be 3 or 4 maybe at the most. Oh, Calgary. Let's see who's in Calgary. That's gonna be the whole.
B&O stockist.
Who is that? Yeah, that's Holton Renfrew. Downtown.
And that's a shop or what?
Yeah, basically, it's a part of the. It's a little display in a clothing store. It's like Harrods, but no comparison.
But is it like speakers or is it more so headphones?
I think it's cash and carry stuff. I think the biggest thing they had there when I was there around was A9. I don't know if they have a theater set up or anything because there's nobody there that knows how to do it.
Yeah, that's another thing, right? Like half of Texas is Neiman Marcus's where you can buy like H100s and H95s and stuff. And whilst I get it, like it's at least you can get something physical somewhere. It's sort of like, okay, but like is Texas not worth your attention?
Right. What's there? One store in the middle of the ocean? Go left.
Oh, it's Hawaii.
Holy shit.
Custom integration partner on the.
Okay. Is there anything in Bahamas? I don't think so.
No. But it's not part of the use. Let's see, Bahamas. No. So they probably go to the Miami store.
Yeah, they have to. Everything has to be ferried in, most likely.
I mean, not that it's very far. It's like by boat, this is like 2.5 hours or something.
Yeah. What's Mexico?
Oh, there is for sure a store in Mexico City.
Yeah, it has to be. There's one in Peru. Fuck. What? No way. You spelled it right? Collis.
I know for sure there's a store.
There has to be a store in Mexico City because I've met the boys in Chicago a long, long time ago.
Let's see, Mexico City, Mexico. Oh, it says nothing at the moment.
Interesting.
I mean, offline, we looked at this like 3 months ago, and it was still there.
Mm-hmm. That's bizarre.
Maybe something happened.
Wow.
Busted 82 says worked at a shop after school. It was like called Too Tall. They had TV, hi-fi, and a repair shop. A whole wall was dedicated to B&O. I've heard numbers like 400 B&O dealers in Denmark alone back in the day. Today, maybe 25. Yeah, I'm not surprised. Let's see. What does Denmark have currently? I mean, comparatively, it's a tiny-ass country, but...
17 results.
Yeah.
So Copenhagen's flooded, and then you have what? There's got to be one in Struer.
Yes. So essentially, I think Henrik called Esbjerg or something. I think Henrik always says Esbjerg. Is that like Danish for iceberg or something?
I have no idea.
Oh yeah, that's right too. Yeah, the Bremdal one in Struer is closing.
That sucks.
Well, I think that was a family-owned shop, and the guy that started it, like 50 years ago, died.
Mm.
And they're gonna keep the museum, I think, but the shop is gonna go.
They have to keep the museum. Fuck.
Yeah. But in like most of this is doable, right? Like even for like European standards, like if you look at just the size of like the sort of populations and buildings and stuff, like the big ones, other than Holster Bro or whatever the fuck that is, and Horsens, and maybe ours, like every other city has something.
Yes. Yeah, it's shrinking down. How many are in China? Let's look at that. And how many are in North Korea?
Laura says 95% of all B&O shops in DK are owned by one person. Huh.
The Rothschilds.
No, that would be the Rothschild.
Shit, there's what, 24 in China? Not bad.
Yeah. Bang & Olufsen, Beijing, China World. Interesting.
There's a couple like deep in mainland too.
Yeah. Isn't Chengdu where they make most of the electronics? Also, I think like Chongqing is right. Like it says nothing to us, but I heard about this recently. I think this is a city of like 35 million people.
Oh yeah, these are massive. They're massive cities, bro. Like that's insane. Yeah, that's how many is in Russia? Or is it still boycotted?
Yes.
So there's no stores?
They used to have stores, but they cut all their like they said, fuck you, you're done, you're gone. I don't like what your government did.
Damn. Sorry.
See, nothing in Russia.
Wow. What about Ukraine? Just shits and giggles. Do they still get to buy B&O in there? Or just drones?
Yes.
No, fuck. There's 8. What's that big cluster there? Is it Kiev?
Yeah.
or Kiev as they call it now. It just rips my ears apart when I hear that.
Yeah, I've been calling it Kiev all my life.
That's how I grown up, and that's how they grown up. Like, dude, my best friend back in Calgary was from Kiev, and he's always called it Kiev. So I don't know, and the Kiev, whatever.
I mean,
So there are quite a bit.
yeah, a lot of ice spaces in malls, though. I don't know what that is necessarily.
Look in the vampire country. Go to Romania. See if they got anything going on.
Yes.
Oh shit, they do. Bucharest is like 2 at least. And I'm not even going to attempt to pronounce the other ones. Interesting. They got 13 or 12. I can't see. 12
13.
stores. 13. Tabarnak. There's a lot in Bucharest.
Yeah.
What about Hungary? It's right beside them.
Probably 1 or 2, surely. Yeah. Well, 3.
3.
All of them in Budapest.
Yeah.
Or is that Budapest now?
Budapest. That's what we called it.
But where's the sh? Or is that just an S sound in Hungarian?
I don't.
P-E-S-T is pest, right? Not pest.
But in our language, we had the S hook on it.
Oh, okay.
And I don't think
like
that. I
that
think
German
that's an English.
B.
Yeah, that's an English spelling, though, of Budapest. Interesting.
Right.
So there are stores around, but not enough. And it's all within a center of one thing.
Well, I mean, it makes sense that there's more in Europe, but it's sort of like
it's sad for US.
Even China has decent representation in terms of their major population centers.
Yes.
It's just I don't understand why it's not better here or in Canada or Mexico. Like there's billionaires in Mexico. Several.
There's a lot. There's a lot of affluent people there too.
If like HSBC, like banks and stuff, don't care about the scruples of taking literal money in fucking bags, right, from the cartels, like, well, put a
B&O shop in there, shit.
Yeah.
What cartel needs BeoLab 28 too?
It's like, hey, cartel bro, like if you get shot up, just sit behind our 90, right? You'll be fine.
That's it. There's a lot of aluminium to stop. A lot of fire. Like I always thought about it, like in a worst case scenario, if the building was collapsing, I would fucking hug one of the speakers. I swear to God.
Yes, I would.
Because that is probably the most likely place that wouldn't get crushed with the slap from the top as much.
Yes.
I'd fucking die anyways, but you never know.
I'm not so sure with 90s. If the floor holds, you're probably fine.
Unless it's like the Champlain Tower collapse, and it's you're riding that speaker off the fucking balcony.
Well, at least you're holding something you love.
Oh God, he died. He died what he loved doing. Yeah. Speaking of that Champlain Tower collapse, there's some new evidence that came out, and blah blah blah. I keep studying that nonsense, but it interests me. The neglect in the building was real, and some of the design changes were neglected to be shown in an as-built, and then they renovated the building, loaded with granite, because the granite is the new it, right? That adds immense weight to the building, and then one awful day, surprise, surprise.
Was that tower here, or was that
Champlain Tower in Florida?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean
2001 or 2021 when it went down.
I mean, they also showed some pictures of the parking garage, right? And apparently it was a bunch of old people that couldn't fucking drive. So they kept bumping into the walls to the point where the concrete was coming off and like the rebar was showing through.
Well, yeah, but there was a lot of that was chalked up to Spalding from the pool leaking constantly into the garage.
Yeah.
Up to they were losing 2 inches of water a week in the pool. Mysteriously.
Holy moly.
Yes, sir.
That's quite a lot.
2 inches of water out of the whole fucking pool, man. That's how many gallons that just seeped through the
Like
parquet.
1,000 or so.
Yeah. So that's 1,000 gallons of water a week going through, plus all that chlorine and shit that's in it.
Yeah,
That ain't good for the rebar and concrete altogether.
it makes the
Anyway,
concrete
we
nice and
digress.
soft.
Yeah, we digress. I don't know why the apocalypse of hugging the 90s would have saved my life, but
Maybe you would have a little cubby under the rubble and like.
maybe I'll have enough time to take the main driver out so I can hide inside it. Fudge sticks. Yeah. Yeah, because those are not moving, that's for sure. They're going to be sliding off with shit, but there's no way these are going anywhere. And I think, honestly, that my neighbors are gone. They're either gone for the summer or something's happening because there's no movement on the shades or nothing. So, and I've had the 90s up a couple times and nobody came knocking. So I think I'm good for now. Hence, the spawn of the idea of the shape on the wall is becoming more real.
Something totally different, but in line.
Try me.
I know.
Oh, dude, I love the look of this.
How would you pronounce it? Because this in Dutch is just a word, right? This would be vollebak. Like, is it vollebak or what the hell? It's because they're British.
I can't see it. It's fuzzy.
Vollebak.
Hold on, let's do this full screen. Volbak, no?
Yeah.
I guess I don't know, but that thing looks sickening. I don't know if those lines are actually in it or it's just the shadow of the.
No, I think they're in it.
That burnt. I don't know, bro. Why wouldn't they be uniform then? Yeah, I've seen that sculpture, BD. That's that spaceship that they've done with the lap 5s in it and whatever. That was pretty cool. But this is definitely very, very interesting. I don't know what the Volback is as a company.
They're futuristic something or others. Like they do clothing again mostly. The two brothers from Britain or England. Supposedly they do very precise engineering, but if you see that spaceship of theirs, like the welds are goddamn awful. But I guess they're more sort of futurists because like that whole spaceship design thing, they sort of this thing is how they think
came up with it. Yeah,
sell clothes in the future in space or something.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it. That freaking Falcon 5, whatever rocket that this thing is. Cool. But, you know.
I mean, for precision engineering, right? Like these, like I know it's not functional, but these welds are pretty awful.
Fucking apprentice welds, bro. These are definitely apprentice welds. So these are what, like inset into it? Yeah, I guess so. They're protruding through. Yeah, that's such a cool finish. It's like a zombie apocalypse finish to me, man. I could see that in like, one of those zombie movies somewhere, like a putrefied being.
Yeah, it's with a burnt out finish, it says.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really nice.
Wait, it says with a burnout finish. No, it's a burnt out finish.
I wonder how they made it. But it is slick.
I think they said in some of the literature that came with it that they were experimenting quite a lot, and at some point they got to this sort of look where like it sort of dripped down with getting out to tubs and stuff like that at certain speeds. And
yeah, it's really interesting. That's pretty dark water.
Yeah,
for the anodizing.
Well, it is a pretty dark
yeah,
shell.
yeah. Very, very cool. I really like that finish, I have to say. Is it worth 10 grand or 8, whatever? That's another
It's
question.
5,400, 200.
So it's cheaper than the Atelier? No,
No,
it's
it's
the
same
same
price.
prices. Yeah.
It may be 200 more than the like peach, whatever it is.
The honey tone and
Yeah.
whatnot. Very cool though. I like it. That's the holy fuck. That's the actual surface of it.
I think this might be the powder. Maybe it's the surface. I don't know.
That's interesting though.
Yeah.
I approve.
Martial Music says I'd buy one and claim against my insurance for fire and water
Fuck, that's funny shit.
But sir, it's supposed to look like this.
Oh, yeah, get a silver one to show him the real deal. Fuck. Now you get 2 for 1. That's funny.
Yeah, give it 2 months and nobody remembers this. So
yeah. And then you can claim it as a man. That's funny. That is a really close up finish picture of because it is that finish.
Yeah.
And there is a talk of a new sub, but there is no talk of price yet.
And
I think you should wait till October.
Talk about a new sub.
Yeah, but officially there is no talk about the new sub.
You're in the wrong month for launching shit.
Yeah. Give it time. It'll come. November 17th is not that far. The freaking Microsoft keeps pushing Windows 11 on me. I don't know if I should take the blue pill or red pill on this.
I don't.
But
I mean, supposedly it's a bit faster, but it's also a lot more spy-y.
No, I'm gonna keep the 10 for now.
Like I want to save stuff on my computer locally, not in the cloud somewhere.
And then at some point they'll come to you with the freaking your shit's too full now. You gotta pay $3 a month to store more or delete. No.
I mean, I almost don't understand why, if B&O can do this, right? Like, what is the actual adage of having these people be on it as well?
Idea.
Yeah, but from their own literature, if I'm not mistaken, in their press release, this was B&O sort of like figuring this out on by themselves.
I think it was Spot. I think it might have been inspired by their idea. I think that B&O faces the same problem as a very affluent person would. It doesn't matter how much money you have if you don't have any idea to spend it on something cool, then you just don't spend it. So
yeah, but why can't you? I don't know. Give 2 of your anodizers just like some budget to play with shit, right? To come up with limited editions like this that are cool, that are just yours.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what the co-promoting is to one another, if that benefits them somehow or benefits the brand, or did they buy into it somehow and make our special edition thing for whatever. No idea. I have no idea how that works with these random company involvements, or how they are even found to begin with. I'm sure that B&O vets out a lot of that, because there is a lot of people that probably subscribe to it and have their own. I don't know. I really don't know how those mechanics work behind the scenes, and why these limited editions are the way they are from different people. Like, I understand, like, let's say Riva, right? Like, I guess if you want to, that's a collab. But with these people, I don't understand how this is a collab when the surface was more or less developed in the factory itself.
Yeah. So Bang & Olufsen has partnered with pioneering British material science brand
Fallback, yeah,
to launch a bold creative collaboration and reimagine. Like, how are they a material science brand? Like, they make clothing that of odd materials.
Probably that's how it
Anyway,
is.
yeah. The partnership debuts with two boundary-pushing creations. Their spaceship, a 1,000-kilogram structure, designed by Danish space art. But it's not functional, and it can't ever. Never mind. It's just a bunch of marketing nonsense.
Mm. Did they give credits to STB brackets? Because somehow had to be screwed that shit in,
One would think so, yeah.
right?
They're excited to be partnered together. Ambitious projects showcasing innovation, experimentation. Together, they've transformed aluminium into a work of art that doesn't just represent space and sound, but also imagines the future we're building towards. Okay. So it's the space shop. It's not a ship; it's a shop. Is built from precision engineered aluminium. Its exterior panels finished to match the Beosound 2 with Vollebak edition, burnished anodized aesthetic inside. Houses iconic BeoLab 5 and BeoSound 2 speakers, delivering an immersive space-inspired soundscape. So B&O was, I don't know, 20 years ahead of its time, because apparently BeoLab 5s are space-inspired sound.
Colonies. Yeah, that's a lot of marketing word soup, per se.
Yeah. So the BeoSound 2 is 5,000 euro. It's available to purchase at Vollebak or Bang & Olufsen at a later stage. Weird, but okay.
I would get it, but with that Volback logo on it.
I mean, it is a very cool look. I very much like it. Like, I love what they've created. It's just the marketing language is kind of painful to me.
Yeah, it's too spacey.
I mean, when you tell me precision engineering, right? Like, I want perfect welds and that sort of thing.
Yes.
Like, not sort of the fucking bacon grease going everywhere.
Bacon grease. Yeah, that it is what it is with the precision, but this is a very, very nice finish. Imagine a theater finish like that.
Yeah, that could work, I think. I mean, that would blend into a lot of places, especially if you have marble or something like that.
Or a concrete wall. That would look fucking hot on a concrete wall. Big 77-inch wings on it. God, this.
I mean, Vollebak, according to Google, is a clothing company, so it's not material science. But
oh, it's one of those again.
So they have this. This is their first interstellar delivery vehicle. Like, to whom? But I don't know.
I don't know if it's with the youth or age or whatever, but I used to find B&O like releases more exciting back in 10, 15 years ago than now.
Yeah, but 10, 15 years ago, everything was like new shit.
Yeah.
Like, and it was variations on the newer stuff. And currently, it's variations on things that are 10 years old. Beosound 2 is what launched when?
2015 or 2016.
Yeah, so it's 10 years old.
Because I remember it being shown to us, like they pulled it out. I couldn't believe they actually showed us. I don't know if it was the first or second factory tour, either 2015 or 16 when it was introduced. It was just like a few months before the launch. It could have been 2016.
This is a Canadian jacket for you.
Jesus Christ, what is that?
A
Made out of
copper
what?
woven jacket.
Wow. So that's gonna turn green over time?
Probably.
Fuck. If I were to get a jacket, I would get a Kitanica jacket. That's the one I would go with. And I don't know if they still have the Mark II, but Kitanica Mark II jacket was the shit. Put it on the Googlies and you'll see what I'm talking about. Not his freaking space flight in a Porsche.
Yeah. Hey, this is for you. It blocks you from electromagnetic radiation shields from infrared cameras. Comes with a Faraday cage pocket.
Fucking hell, what kind of a jacket is that? That's pretty cool, actually. Except, your phone don't work.
Well, that's kind of nice sometimes, right?
I would say so.
I mean, so yeah,
What is that?
it's just showing you that wool doesn't absorb water if it's like oiled, which is sort of like that's not material.
What it is?
Like if you shear a sheep, right, and do that to its fur, that's what it does. It doesn't get wet.
That's sick.
Like,
I never seen that. I knew that it is, but I never seen anybody dip a wad of sheep fur in a fucking
yeah, but it's
aquarium.
hardly material science.
Well, to them it is.
Anyway, it's
Okay, so let's get ourselves a Faraday cage jacket.
Yeah, it's
2
only
times winner of best inventions. How much?
3,300 USD.
Tabarnak, man. But
You
that's
can
all
get-
copper or what is it?
I don't know. Ultra high molecular weight pants for $745.
What in the heck? Click on that shit. I want to see what the material is, like some unobtainium fabric.
Ultra high molecular weight polyethylene.
Well, whatever jacket he's wearing, it's itchy.
Well, these are the pants.
I know, but I think they kind of.
So it's plastic essentially. They're plastic
Oh
pants.
shit! Forward back. Okay, well that's where we ended up at, I guess. At the end of the podcast is a fucking Faraday cage jacket.
Let's see yes.
I actually have a client in mind of ours in Quebec that they would probably buy that jacket because they're so afraid of the radiation waves and such. The whole house is painted with lead, so nothing, dude. No Wi-Fi, no signal, no nothing in the house. That's interesting, though. The prices are steep, man. Blocks electromagnetic radiation, shields from infrared cameras, comes with Faraday cage pockets. Model is 6 feet. Okay, so that's kind of my height. So you're fucked when you have headphones and you put your phone in the goddamn pocket. That's it.
Yeah, you need one of those sweatbands so to put your phone on your face.
Oh my god, yeah. So that kind of sucks for the. I guess you got a USB-C. Back to Mark with the H90, H100s. I guess you can listen to it like that in an offline mode. Technical details on a fucking jacket. Call this.
Yeah.
Interesting. So those are the peoples that come up with new colors for our beloved brand. Very interesting. To me, that seems like a project like a blind chicken that walked towards a bag of grain. Because I don't see what the point of this is really, other than somebody's making a lot more money off of the somebody else's brand and collab. But that's just my onion.
According to them, yeah, your phone literally doesn't work and you can't get to its Bluetooth if you put it in the Faraday pocket.
Well, it makes fucking sense. That's a Faraday pocket, right?
Yeah, but like you can call anything a Faraday pocket, right?
Yeah, but I wonder how much damage does it do to the antenna system, right? Because the phone is fucking trying to receive and shit and send out all the time, right? Like, I know,
If it's
like the
if it's a
NFC
Google
sensors.
Android phone, they'll just store it and stop transmitting, and then transmit as soon as they're out again.
Because I know that, no, I found out that the NFC, if you have NFC enabled in your phone,
Mm.
and you use one of these magnetic back clips where you keep your bank card in and such,
Yeah.
you are risking and very likely to burn the chip in the bank card
Hmm.
because the NFC keeps sending power, which activates the chip. And that's not a myth; it's a fact. And it's one of the guys that from work said, yeah, don't keep the NFC on for the door contacts. If you have cards on it, like I've burnt my access card. I've burnt two of my access card. He said through the
Hmm.
NFC being on in his phone. So be very weary of having your NFC chip turned on while you have the bank card on the back of the phone, which is kind of redundant because if you do have the NFC turned on, there is no need for you to carry anything in your on your phone as far as the cards other than your personal identification.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, into preppy. Yeah, I agree. Turn off your Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, and go invisible. If your Wi-Fi is still toggled on, right, and you go into a shop, the shop's Wi-Fi will still ping you and follow you however you walk around the shop, even
mhm.
though you don't officially connect to it.
Yeah,
So, yeah.
there's a lot of that. But that's a conversation for a tinfoil hat.
Get one of these jackets.
Get one of those jackets. It'll be green in a few months after you wash it a few times because I'm sure the copper you're going to look like a fucking Statue of Liberty walking around with this shit. Uh, might as well get a book and a torch to hold. And
Yeah.
that's the moral of the story.
Build yourself a Faraday sleeve and just worm yourself into one.
And we all live happily ever after.
Yeah. Anyway.
Well, thanks for watching our 350th podcast and the rant of nonsense and a little bit of piano here and there.
Hope you enjoyed. Come join the Discord. Leave a like and subscribe if you haven't yet already. Buy stuff at Skinny Play and Tigrino Studios. It's down in the description. And
yeah, based on, I guess, the timeline arrangement, because Mikey's lazy ass, I think we're going to meet in person in episode 450. Where I'm finally able to legally enter the States and go from there. But yeah, thank you all very much for watching for the last
I'm not
7
banned
years.
from this place.
Well, you don't want to come to Montreal, asshole. You got your speakers here.
It's all French, man. It's all
Yeah,
French.
yeah, dude. Let's go for some poutine.
Où est le satanique?
Noé, Noé.
Je cherche le speaker.
The haut-parleur, as they call it here. Anyways, have yourself a great rest of the week or beginning of it. Whichever way you look at it. Bye.
That